Welcome, Ari, to Zebec's Future of Money series. Ari is the co-founder of Purewrist, which is a wearable contactless payment bracelet that works with no batteries. Ari, it's great to have you on.
Thank you for having me, Parth. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, we'd love to hear a little more about Purewrist and your background.
Yeah, we founded Purewrist with a vision that the world of payments is going to be evolving, moving off a mag stripe swipe into beyond kind of dipping your card and then eventually move into contactless payment. The company was founded with the entrepreneurial spirit. Obviously, the landscape has changed in the last 10 years and continues to rapidly evolve. My background prior to founding Purewrist was working in the watch industry as well, believe it or not, in real estate development, and always kind of had this deep-rooted passion to create and to build. And that's really what happened when we started this company. Bootstrapped it for years, developed the first product, did all the R&D from scratch, learned payments inside and out, card issuing, the different players that are involved in bringing a payment card to the market. How do you design an accessory and what type of factories you work with and designers to semiconductors. So all of the different aspects of bringing our product to where it is today, we're learning from scratch and working with a lot of different partners behind this. So we're blessed and grateful to have an amazing kind of silent team that not many people in the public are able to see, which is kind of our edge and our competitive advantage. Today, we've moved away just from a bracelet. We have different products that we're going to bring to market. A key fob as an example, a digital card number you can put into different mobile apps for online spending. We see ourselves as more of a platform that's non-phone, non-card, affordable, inclusive, designed for simplicity, ease of use, convenience for people, whether they're making $50,000 a year or $1 million. We're focused on very specific use cases and very specific personas as we move into the future.
Awesome. Well, I don't think I've seen a company like Purewrist recently, so it's great to see you guys are out in the space and transforming the payments industry.
Yeah, look, it's tough when you're creating a new category, which is essentially what we're doing. Things don't happen overnight. It takes a very deep commitment that is very hard to put into words, and only folks that have kind of been through it can attest to it. So we're at this inflection point moment now, and it kind of goes to show you what's happening around the world in all sorts of different areas of culture and society. I mean, just in the United States, if you recall, and let's just keep this to payments, it took about 10 years to upgrade the infrastructure across America at point of sale terminals to accept a contactless payment. And that required tremendous amounts of investment from all the stakeholders involved, from the banks to the card networks to the infrastructure technology providers. There was a lot of work and investment and upgrades that needed to happen. And then we had the pandemic, which kind of accelerated that. So now, essentially, you can walk into any store and tap your phone, tap a card, tap a bracelet, whatever you prefer. And that's really where we see the future of payments is whatever works for a specific person, they will choose that way. And whatever resonates with them and connects to them, that's what they're going to choose. The first knee-jerk reaction you might think is, why do I need what you have? I have a phone. Believe it or not, if you actually look at the data, the amount of transactions done via the mobile pays is still very low relative to the percentage of in-person payments. So you're looking at something that's under 30%. There's a lot of folks out there that are still using cash and cards, believe it or not. So, we're looking to insert ourselves into this flow and into the world through partnerships and just provide people a new way that's convenient and put a smile on their face and let them live their best lives.
Yeah, that's a great point you brought up about the pandemic accelerating the rise of digital payments. I think the past 5 years or so has been where we've seen the most transformation in the payments industry. COVID did accelerate the rise of digital payments and contactless payments. But I think now over the past year, we've seen crypto and blockchain accelerate that even more. So we've seen digital assets and other sorts of AI and crypto being at the forefront of payments revolution. And I think that's the next step of the payments industry.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, look, you can't ignore crypto, can't ignore blockchain. It's open, it's transparent. It has a lot of eyes on it from very important and powerful and strong parties, in business and in financial services. So I think some of the biggest on the periphery, I'm no expert by any means. I've was involved just from my network in some of these ICO era companies where a lot of them just raised money, went bust. There's definitely, it's a strong technology. There's a lot of investment in it. But at the end of the day, it's like, what is the use case and who's involved? What is it? I mean, maybe it could solve a problem. That's probably the top ingredient for success is the type of problem you're solving and who's involved in, how many people are involved as well, right? And how many people are using it, whatever application. So I see like a big use case for cross-border remittance using like DT, and some of these blockchains to help move the funds at a very efficient and cheap way. I'm seeing that from different queries coming through, as well as potential collaborations and partnerships where you're able to send money cross-border at a very quick and cheap cost relative to what is available today. So I think that relative to payments is going to be probably the top use case. I don't see folks using crypto to pay in a store like Starbucks anytime in the near future. And I don't think it's going to become something that is prevalent or relevant, in the next 10 years, just because there's too many different types of companies involved in the payment transaction flows that create their own independent businesses and economies. So there's too much on the periphery that is tied to the in-store payment or in-person payment or online payment that is moving from a consumer to a business that I think will deter the crypto. I see it more kind of like with loyalty, rewards, conversion, flow of funds across borders, that kind of stuff from B2B. I see that being more relevant than kind of the C to the B, the consumer to the business.
Yeah, so two things you brought up that I want to address. So one was the cross-border payments, and one was crypto for consumer spending. So the cross-border payments of global remittance, I completely agree with you. We've seen that most employees in the US that want to send money back home, the main issue they face is slow speeds, high fees, and it's just not very efficient. So the usual process for them is I go to Western Union, I want to remit $200, $250 to Argentina. I have to pay an 11% remittance fee, which if you're an hourly worker in the US and you're trying to send money back home, that kind of eats a lot into your wage. So what we've seen and what we've developed at Zebec through our native payroll WageLink app is a way to integrate global remittance into payroll. And the way we do that is we use USDC and stablecoins as a payments rail. So instead of paying the 11% out of Western Union, you pay 2 to 3% on our WageLink payroll app, and you can send money in the form of USDC to Argentina or wherever it is in the world you want to send money to. And we're able to do this through a partnership with Circle. And we think that global remittance is now going to be at the forefront of payments. We think that the most transformation, the most innovation can happen in this space because payment speeds are just not up to par when it comes to your traditional payments routes.
What you're doing is definitely very relevant and there's a market. And, another thing is important to kind of understand part as well is in this world of financial services, and it's not a winner take all environment. Like what works for one individual person connected to Zebec may not work for another, right? But we're not living in a world, at least on the consumer front, where like one company's going to dominate this particular space.
Yep. The goal is to provide consumers with multiple options so they can choose what works for them. And that's the angle Zebec's trying to take. For users that want to use crypto, we're the option that they can use. Whether it's they want to go to Western Union and continue to do that, they're able to do that. If there's another route they want to take, there are plenty of ways to remit money. And I think the other point you brought up was crypto payments for just normal consumer spending. I'm going to have to disagree with you on this one. I think in the US, you are correct. There's been less crypto adoption when it comes to consumer spending. But I think what we've seen internationally is in countries like South America, where crypto is their native currency, or even in Asia, where crypto, I think, has the largest market. I think what we've seen is most people do prefer to use crypto as their main spending option, given that there's a lot of instability.
Yeah, so in Venezuela,
exactly.
Salvador, like where I've seen that where you basically pay with Bitcoin and what they were trying to that. But yeah, totally. In unstable governments with high inflation and crypto first countries, totally. That's why.
In the US, I do agree with you. I don't think it's going to replace traditional payment options yet, but maybe in 10, 15 years, agreed. Hopefully it will be.
Yeah, maybe. Look, we could be, definitely. But it's going to take
But
a long time. And it's going to be very, very hard to displace the Visas and the MasterCards of the world. Yeah, next.
no, agree. Yeah.
And look, I mean, and for example, India and China, that's a different conversation. China's, mobile, WeChat, Alipay, dominant force of how people pay for things as well.
Yeah. No, you're completely right. So while we're on the topic of crypto adoption and blockchain adoption, do you expect in terms of digital assets for there to be an ETF for like the top 500 digital assets? Do you think that's a near-term issue, or is that too far-fetched, given we've seen recent developments in a Bitcoin ETF, an Ethereum ETF, and BlackRock has made substantial moves in the market?
I would say most likely, probably. Again, I'm not an expert in this arena. I follow it from the periphery. I think a lot of the people that are in Bitcoin now are the whales, and most of the folks that got in early. The average Joe is not going to succeed with Bitcoin as the top 1%, obviously, like with any case. But the ETF allows them to get involved and make a little bit. And if folks are making money and it works, then they're going to duplicate it or copy paste it to the next digital asset. Because at the end of the day, it's all about innovation and opportunity and creating new products and moving into the future. If there's money involved, people to make it in financial services, then how are they going to do it? What does it exactly look like? I'm not sure.
Got it. Yeah, I think that's one thing we're more bullish on, given we're a Web3 company. I think we're expecting, or at least hopeful, that there will be in the near future, especially since now we've seen tokens.
One other thing I would like to add to that is was regulation, right? And I think that they'll square and sort through all the regulatory environment and the matters at hand. And there most likely will be a world where once this is all kind of sorted on the regulatory side, it will definitely spur new products and innovation, I think, a lot faster too. We're trying to kind of square, and you probably know more about that than me, but I know that it's something that's being worked on. Eventually we'll get there.
I think it's still, the industry has grown so fast. I don't think the government's been able to keep up with the regulatory landscape. But I think there will be, in the near future, more strict guidelines, or at least a more clear outlay of how these securities are classified, or how the average American or just average consumer can invest in digital assets. I think that's coming in the near future. And I think that would give at the moment where people are going to realize that digital assets are here to stay. And I think that will be the catalyst for more widespread adoption once the government has regulated a little more, at least given the consumer's confidence in digital assets.
Yeah, look, I mean, it's a very exciting place to be. You meet a lot of interesting people in all sorts of different industries. Financial services touches just about everything these days in the world.
Yeah.
I think can continue to be embedded into the way the world flows and operates into the future. So to sum it all up, truly believe in freedom of choice. People are going to be able to pay however, wherever, whenever they want. And it should be frictionless. It should be easy. It should be secure and safe and give people peace of mind. And we're just happy to be a part of this conversation and be involved in allowing people to have a choice.
Yeah, exactly. I think giving consumers an option that they didn't have before is what we're all working towards. The more options that they have, the better, or at least they can make an informed decision on what it is they want. But yeah, Ari, thanks again for joining our Future of Money series. This was a great conversation, and I think we'd love to pick this up again sometime in the future.
Parth, appreciate your time. Thank you for reaching out and thinking of us.